You are an athlete. No matter what sport you train for, strength and conditioning will play a major role in your performance. In most sports, you'll need to incorporate gym work. And if you train alone without a strength coach, you might fall into the trap of training like a regular gym goer. But remember, you're an athlete. The gym is a tool, not the end goal. So today I will be covering 5 of the most common mistakes athletes make in the gym. 1. Training like a powerlifter. If you want to get stronger, then lifting heavy is a well-known and effective method. It's straightforward, pretty easy to program, and delivers results. In most gyms, the strongest people you'll see will be powerlifters, so it's natural to assume that following a powerlifting program is the best way to gain strength. But that's not necessarily true, and here's why. As an athlete, strength development is just one component of your overall training, whereas for a powerlifter, it's the primary focus. That's why a powerlifting program will most likely neglect some key aspects of your training. Then, it is designed to optimize performance in 3 specific lifts: the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift. While these movements are excellent for building strength, they are not the only exercises you need. Depending on your sport, you might need to develop strength in other movement patterns. Moreover, maximal strength is just one type of strength. Explosive power, ballistic movements, endurance strength are just as crucial in many sports. Lifting heavy at slow speeds is not always the best solution. Additionally, powerlifting programs include numerous corrective and accessory exercises designed to perfect technique for heavy lift, whereas for you, these exercises might not be the most efficient use of time. That's not to say powerlifting principles are not useful. When applied intelligently, they can be beneficial. But following a pure powerlifting program without considering your sport-specific needs may do more harm than good in the long run. Instead of copying the strongest lifter in your gym, adapt your training to suit your sport. 2. Chasing variety over mastery. Once again, the gym is a tool. It complements your sport training, which means that you don't need to try every trendy exercise or use the latest gym equipment. More complexity does not mean more effectiveness. For most athletes, especially those who are not professionals, sticking to fundamental exercises with smart adaptations will yield the best results. Mastering the basics before adding complexity will not only improve your long-term progress, but also provide direct performance benefits. For example, spending time refining your squat with different depth, speeds, loads, or ballistic intent, for example, before introducing advanced variations will lead to significant strength and technique gains. And a quick tip for strength coaches: design training programs that develop the athletes and not only their ability to perform an exercise. Still, variations have their place when programmed properly. And never forget that every exercise in a training program should serve a clear purpose. If you add an exercise or a movement, make sure there is always a specific reason for it. 3. Mismanaging complexity. When should you focus on general foundational work and when should you prioritize what we would call sport-specific training? Finding the right balance is key. Some athletes overcomplicate their training too soon, chasing specificity and neglecting foundational strength. They never master the basics. Other athletes stay stuck in the foundations, never adapting their training to their personal goal, body, or sport. Finding the right middle ground is key. This is where a good strength coach makes a difference. Through education, experience, and mentorship, coaches learn to strike that balance. But even if you don't have access to a coach, you can still make smart decisions by following those steps. 1. Clearly define your situation. Consider your sport, your goals, your physical attributes, your strengths and weaknesses, your experience level, your available equipment. 2. Establish a structured plan. Outline the main training focus, the deadlines, the key development areas, and some short, medium, and long-term goals. 3. Evaluate your fundamentals. Identify which movement, which physical abilities, which exercises you've mastered and which one needs improvement. Once these foundations are set, your programming decisions should be based on your specific sport and on your personal knowledge of sport training principles and of the human body. To further improve, read research articles, seek advices from more experienced coaches, and stay open to adapting your approach when necessary. Smartly balancing foundational and sport-specific training is the key to improve on the long term. 4. Overusing hypertrophy training. Hypertrophy training, so muscle growth, is the most common type of training in gyms. But as an athlete, it is just one of many tools. Overemphasizing hypertrophy can waste time and energy, and in some cases even be counterproductive. So, before incorporating hypertrophy work, ask yourself two key questions. 1. Does my sport requires body composition optimization? If you compete in a weight class sport, which weight class do you aim for? How much can you optimize your body fat and muscle mass percentages? What physique best supports your performance goals? Answering these questions will help you determine whether hypertrophy training is essential, secondary, or unnecessary in your situation. 2. What physical abilities do I need to improve? Rank your priorities depending on your strength, weaknesses, and available training time. Remember, the biggest difference between a gym goer and an athlete is the set of physical abilities required for peak performance. Focusing too much on hypertrophy training can take time and energy away from training more relevant qualities such as speed, power, or even endurance, so use it wisely. 5. Ignoring fatigue management. Lots of gym goers push to exhaustion at every single session, believing that more fatigue equals more results, or sometimes they just want to let off some steam. But as I already said, as an athlete, strength training is a means to an end, not the goal in itself. You need to recover properly to train your sport at high level. Not every single strength session should leave you completely drained. Some sessions should be shorter, lighter, or easier depending on your competition schedule, your recovery needs, and your training load. Proper fatigue management is essential for long-term progress. Both nervous system fatigue and muscular fatigue can severely impact your ability to train effectively. Take the time to learn how your body responds to different training loads and you'll improve faster in the long run. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, suggestions, or else you can drop a comment down below or contact me straight from my socials, which are in the descriptions of the video. And if you want to work with me as your strength and conditioning coach, you can contact me through the same social medias. I'll see you next Sunday, and with that, train well, stay consistent, and never forget, make yourself proud.